In the present video, we will discuss the introduction and theory of the forecasting. Let's see the definition of forecasting. Forecasting is estimate of an event which will happen in future based on historical facts and data. So forecasting can be termed as prediction of future sales or demand of a project based upon past data and art of a human judgment. So forecasting is the prediction of future sales based on the previous data. So let's see the one example. Forecasting demand for Sprite cool drink in summer. A shop owner wants to know how many bottles of Sprite should be stocked for the month of the April. In this regard, he observed the previous sales data in the month of the January, February, March, and he observed that in the January month number of bottles sold are the 400, and February month number of bottles sold 450, and in the month of the March number of bottles sold are the 600. So from the past experience, the owner observes that sales increase as summer begins. So forecasting here, using previous sales trends, the owner predicts the April sales may reach around 800 bottles. So demand will increase because of hot weather, school holidays, and increased customer demand. So decision taken based on the forecasting, the shop owner order extra stock from the distributor, keeps more bottles in refrigerator, arrange additional ice and storage space, and plan for advertisement and the offers. So in this regard, benefits of the forecasting is, because of forecasting, customers gets products without any shortage, the owner earns more profit, and moreover, wastage and overstock problems also reducing. So generally you have to say forecasting helps business predict future demand using past sales data so that proper planning, production and profit management can be done effectively. So this is the general definition of the forecasting. So next we have to discuss about the what is the need or benefits of forecasting. First one is forecasting helps in determining the volume of production and production rate. For example, a cool drink company forecasts high demand during summer. Normally it produces 10,000 bottles per day, but forecasting shows demand may rise to 15,000 bottles per day. So the company increases production speed and quantity before summer starts. So in this regard, forecasting helps in determining the volume of production and production rate. And next one is the forecasting forms the basics for production budget, material budget, and labor budget, etc. So let's consider the example. A biscuit company predicts a sales of 1 lakh biscuit packets for the next month. So based on this forecast, company purchases more flour and sugar. So this is respect to the material budget. Similarly, company allocates more money for the production, which has to relates to the production budget, and moreover hires extra workers, which has to related to the labor budget. So overall, forecasting helps in planning expenses properly. So forecasting is the forms the basis for production budget, material budget, and the labor budget. And next one is forecasting suggests the need for plant expansion. For example, a soft drink company notices that demand is increasing every year. So forecasting shows the future sales may double in 3 years. In this regard, to meet the future demand, company build a new manufacturing plant and installs additional machines. And next one is the forecasting essential for a product design and development. For example, a beverage company forecasts that customers prefer healthy drinks with less sugar. Based on this prediction, company develops a new low sugar cool drink and changes the bottle design to attract the young customers. So in this regard, forecasting also essential for product design and development. And next one is forecasting helps in determining the price policy. For example, a company forecasts low demand during winter for cool drinks. So to increase sales, it reduces the product price and offer discounts. And moreover, during the peak summer, when demand is high, it may increase the price slightly. So in this regard, forecasting helps in determining the price policy. And next one is forecasting helps in determining the extent of marketing, advertising and distribution required. Let's consider one example. A new mango drink is expected to become popular during the summer vacations. Based on this forecasting, the company increases TV and YouTube advertisements and sends more products to supermarkets and shops, and moreover expands distribution to nearby towns. So this ensures the product reaches customer at the right time. Next we will discuss the classification of forecasting in decision making. Forecasting in different functional areas of management such as the marketing, production, finance and personnel play a crucial role for planning ahead. In this regard, various types of in each of the aforementioned areas are as follows. First one is the marketing. So in marketing forecasting, there are the different types are there. One is the demand forecasting of products, forecast of market share, forecasting trend in prices. Similarly, in the production point of view, forecast of materials requirements, trend in materials and labor cost, and maintenance requirement and moreover plant capacity. And next one is the finance point of view. So finance forecast of cash flows, rate of expenses, revenues. And similarly, personal management point of view, forecast of number of workers in each category, labor turnover and absenteeism. Next we will discuss the steps involved in sales forecasting. The steps involved in sales forecasting may differ from one company to another because the nature of the business and products varies for each enterprise. Moreover, market conditions also different from one company to another and from one product to another. However, under normal conditions, most industries follow the same basic steps in the forecasting process. So first step is determining the objective of forecasting. So in this regard, certain points should be considered before taking up the forecasting test, like period of forecasting, which means short-term plan or maybe the long-term plan, and area of sales forecasting, which means where we have to conduct the survey. And next one is the unit of sales forecasting, which means we have to considering the sales in quantities or maybe the values. And next one is the time period. So when to when we have to forecast. And next one is the labor and money to be employed on forecasting. So which means how many labor and how much money should be spent for the forecasting. So these are all the points we should be keep before taking the forecasting test. And next step is subdivide the task of forecasting. Subdividing the forecasting program into homogeneous groups according to product, area, activities or customers. Let's consider one example. So there are the two products, product 1 and product 2. Then I have to conduct the survey in the various types of the areas. Here we have to observe that only for the product 1 in the area 1 is 25 and area 2 35 sales and area 3 15 sales. Similarly for the product 2, area 1 is the 15 sales, area 2 25, area 3 is the 45. So total sales of a product 1 is the 75 and total sales for product 2 is the 85. Then total sales is the 160. So the total sales forecast of the company will be sum of the all the groups. So the product 1 total forecast is the demanding in the three different areas. Demand of the area 1 and demand of the area 2 and demand of the area 3. Next step is determine the relative importance of factors. The relative importance of the factors affecting the forecasting should be identified so that more emphasis can be placed on the most significant factors. So next step is select the method to be used for forecasting. So there are the various types of the forecasting methods are there. Among that one, so which method should be selected by the approximate authority after considering the following? One is the all the relevant situations, purpose of forecasting and degree of accuracy required. So based on this one, we have to select the suitable method. And next step is collect and analyze the data. So by applying the approximate method, the necessary data for forecasting are collected, tabulated and cross-checked. So the data are interpreted using statistical techniques. In general, we have to using the moving average method or exponential smoothing method or maybe any kind of the method. So this may be called a preliminary forecast, which forms the basis for the final forecast. And next step is study the correlation between the sales forecast and sales promotion plan. So marketing the forecast is reliable. In this regard, sales promotion plans should be like advertisement policy, personal selling policies and other policies. This should be reviewed with reference to the preliminary sales of the forecasting. And next step is study competitors' activities. The volume of sales of a company is largely affected by the activities of the competitors, which may include policies, programs, strategies, their effect on the market, so that forecasting can be adjusted based on the competitor activities. And next step is prepare final sales forecast. The preliminary sales forecast results are converted into final sales forecast related to the products and tertiaries involved. The aggregate of the sales forecast of different products and areas, customers or activities may form the sales forecast of the enterprise. And last one is the evaluation and adjustments. The actual sales performance during the coming period should be reviewed and evaluated from time to time. The evaluation made may be monthly, quarterly, half-yearly or the yearly. So at the end of the forecast period, the actual sales and forecasted sales should be compared and the causes of variation should be identified. So this helps in improving future sales and forecast. So this is the general steps involved in sales forecasting. Next we will discuss the types of forecasting. There are the two types of forecasting. One is the short-term forecasting and another one is the long-term forecasting. So first we have to discuss about the short-term forecasting. Short-term forecasting refers to predicting the demand, sales or business activities for a short period, usually from a few days to 1 year. So if the forecasting is we are applying for the few days to 1 year, we are calling as the short-term forecasting. Short-term forecasting helps companies in daily operations such as production planning, inventory control, manpower management and scheduling. So let's see the features of the short-term forecasting. So in short-term forecasting covers a short period, in general in days, weeks or month. And short-term forecasting more accurate than long-term forecasting. And moreover, short-term forecasting is used for operational decisions. Let's see the example. A cool drink company forecast higher demand for soft drinks during the summer season. So based on this short-term forecast, company increases production and stock for the next 3 months to meet customer demand. Next we will discuss the long-term forecasting. Long-term forecasting refers to predicting future business conditions, demand, sales or market trends for long period, usually more than 1 year. And long-term forecasting helps in management in strategic planning and major business decisions. So let's see the features of long-term forecasting. So it is covers a long period, in general more than the 1 year. And long-term forecasting used for future planning and expansion, and it helps in investment and policy decisions. So examples of the long-term forecasting is shipbuilding, petroleum, refinery and generation of electricity. So moreover I have to see with the one example. An automobile company forecast that demand for electrical vehicles will increase over the next 10 years. Based on this long-term forecast, company plans to build new factories and invest in battery technology and moreover introduce more electric car models. Next we will discuss the demand patterns. Forecasting depends on the patterns that happens in the past. Some patterns change only with the time, and this can be identified from the previous data. Other patterns occur because of the relationship between two or more factors. Therefore, it is very important to understand the common types of demand patterns before making forecast. So let's see the various types of demand patterns. First one is the historical pattern. Also we are calling as the stationary pattern. So graph is showing here. So forecast variable to the time. Historical or stationary patterns occurs when there is no increasing or no decreasing trend in the data over the time. So here also have to observe. So this average value continuously, constantly it is changing. So the average value remains almost constant, but small fluctuations may be occur. So let's see the one example. The number of defective items produced daily in a well-maintained factory may remain nearly the same every month. The values may go slightly up or down, but the average stays constant over the time. So this is we are calling as the stationary pattern or historical pattern. Next to demand pattern is the seasonal demand pattern. A seasonal demand pattern occurs when demand changes regularly due to seasonal factors such as months, weather, festivals or holidays. The demand increases or decreases at specific times and every year. For example, the sales of soft drinks increases during the summer season and decreases during the winter. This change in demand repeats every year according to the season. And next to pattern is the cyclical pattern. A cyclical pattern occurs when demand rises and falls over a long period, usually more than 1 year. These changes do not occur at fixed time intervals and are mainly influenced by economic conditions. So let's see one example. The price of the metals like steel or copper may increase during economic growth and decrease during the economic slowdown. This rise and falls happens over several years and forms a cyclical pattern. And last one is the trend pattern. A trend pattern occurs when the value of a variable continuously increases or decreases over a period of time. The change may be upward or downward depending on the market conditions and demand. For example, sales of smartphones have increased continuously over the years due to advancement in technology and higher customer demand. So, this shows an upward trend pattern. So, this is the introduction and theory of the forecasting, and thank you.